Hey guys, it's Bianca. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Vlogmas. For today's video, I'm going to be telling you some Netflix recommendations for over Christmas break. First, I'm going to tell you some TV shows, then I'm going to tell you some movies, and then I'm going to tell you some Christmas movies and shows you can watch. These are my top recommendations of my favorite things to watch, so I hope you like them.
I guess I really don't know what Christmas is all about.
Guys, I'm literally gonna cry. I just realized my favorite show ever, and my first recommendation is not even on Netflix anymore. I'm not even kidding, this is my favorite show ever. And this video is about Netflix recommendations, and it's not even on Netflix. Whatever, I'm still recommending it. The Fosters. Literally my favorite show ever. It's so heartfelt and like deep. It deals with so many problems like that are actually relevant in our society today, and I cannot even tell you how many times I cried watching it. If you're wondering what it's about, I'll give a small gist. This family takes in foster kids, and we see a lot of the foster system, and then we see a lot of like racial and LGBTQ issues too, which is really cool. It's just really touching, and I recommend it to everyone. My next recommendation is The Vampire Diaries. I watched this in 9th grade, and now I'm a senior, so honestly, I don't remember everything, but I remember at the time I was obsessed. It's just one of my top shows, and I really recommend it. It's about this girl that is human named Elena who falls in love with some vampires. Like, her and all her human friends become friends with the vampires, and then there's like a whole bunch of like branching off plots, and it's just really cool. And there's so many twists and turns that you'll never see coming. 10 out of 10 recommend. Speaking of it, now I kind of want to rewatch it. My next recommendation is the show You, which is a Netflix original. It's really dark and creepy, but it's super good, and it's not that long, so it's a quick watch. It's about this guy who like stalks a girl, but she doesn't know that he's stalking her. So she like starts to like him, and they become friends, and then a little more, but he's stalking her, so the viewer knows that it's like he's a bad guy. I feel like it's hard to find shows where the main character is the bad guy, so the show is really cool because the main character is the bad person. My next recommendation is probably going to be really hard to finish over Christmas break. It's one of my favorite shows. Criminal Minds is so good if you're into crime shows. Honestly, you don't have to watch it in order because you can just watch for the cases, but I watched it for the characters and the plot line too, so I watched it in order. I think it's kind of self-explanatory what it's about, but it's just about these cops in the FBI. They're in like the BAU, which is the Behavioral Analysis Unit, and they solve like murders and stuff like that, so it's really cool. The last show I'm recommending, if you haven't watched it yet, you're really far behind and this is your time to watch it. Stranger Things is like one of the top shows in the world or whatever. It's about this girl that has like mind powers, and there's like a bunch of like sciencey sci-fi things in it, and I'm not someone that likes like sci-fi, but this show is so good and I loved it. Moving on to movies. The first movie I'm going to recommend is called Murder Mystery. It has Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler in it, and it's a Netflix original. Christian and I watched it together in the car on a road trip, and it was just so funny. It's about this couple that goes on a trip to Europe, and they find themselves on some billionaire's yacht, and then a murder happens, and they try and like figure out who it was that committed the murder. The next movie I'm gonna say is actually two movies, The Kissing Booth 1 and 2. Yes, they're kind of cheesy, but they are actually so good. The title kind of explains it all. It's about these two best friends that put on a kissing booth, and then some stuff goes on. And the second one just gets even better. Okay, the next movie I'm gonna recommend is called After. It's about this girl who is like very perfect and like kind and like very focused on school, and she meets this boy that is like dark and ominous, and then they become friends and things go from there. I don't want to give too much away, but I definitely recommend it. The next movie I'm gonna recommend is called Hush. It's a horror movie, and it's actually so good. It's so scary. It's about this woman that is deaf, and she lives alone. I think it's in the woods, and this person is like breaking into her house, and like it's so scary because the person watching, like, you can always see where the man like is, but she doesn't know he's there because she can't hear him. So it's just very creepy, and it's super good. The last movie I'd recommend is called Riptide. It's about this teenage girl that is a model, and then a video goes viral and like damages her career. So she goes to Australia to stay with her aunt and meets this guy, and she's kind of like trying to find herself without modeling, and it's just really good. And lastly, moving on to Christmas things. The first Christmas movie I would recommend is called The Princess Switch. It's about this girl named Stacy who is a baker in like a normal town, and then she gets put into like this competition and she has to travel to a different country, I think. And it ends up being like the princess there looks exactly like her, and they swap places. Sounds kind of cheesy, but it's actually really cute. The next Christmas movie I would recommend is called The Christmas Prince. It's about this girl who is a reporter, and she's assigned to write a story about like the prince of a different country or something. And she goes there and she like sneaks in to the castle and pretends to be a tutor for his younger sister. And she tries to get like details about his life, but she ends up growing close to the family. And then a lot of stuff plays out. The next Christmas thing I'm gonna recommend is actually a TV show. It's called Dash and Lily, and Christian and I started watching it together like a few weeks ago, and it's actually so good and so cute. Even he likes it, and like it's kind of girly, but he is a guy and he thinks it's good. It's about this girl named Lily who leaves a notebook inside of a bookstore, and it has like all these questions and like fill in the blanks in it, and it just talks about like how she's lonely and how she's gonna be alone on Christmas. And then the boy that finds it is like, oh my god, I'm lonely too. Basically, it's just really cool. Like they communicate through the notebook. We're like, oh my god, are they gonna meet? Are they gonna meet? Are they gonna meet? The next movie I'm gonna recommend is called The Holiday. I just watched this at a sleepover with one of my friends like a week or two ago, and it was so good. It's about this girl, and every time she sees her family, they're like,
why don't you have a boyfriend yet?
So she finds this guy at the mall, and she asks him to be her holiday, which means that whenever there's a holiday, he is her like designated date. It's really funny and it has a cute story. My last recommendation is a classic Christmas movie, but it's on Netflix, White Christmas. I just watched it like last weekend with my mom, and I actually loved it. I love old movies, and this one was super cute. If you haven't seen it, it's about these two guys from the army that start like a singing, dancing duet act thing, and then they meet these two girls and they start to perform together. All right guys, that's all my recommendations for today. I hope you consider watching like one or two of these over Christmas break. I know I'll be watching new things. If you like this video, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up, follow all my social media in the description down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for videos every day until Christmas. See you in the next video.
Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?